Daisy,
Uh,
let's get interviewing. Wow, it feels so weird to have my
I
name on this screen.
I know, isn't that funny? And probably feels very strange for me to be the one interviewing you
Meh, I interviewed you the one
as opposed to
time.
vice
Yeah,
versa.
I interviewed
Yeah,
you the one time.
but you sort of like command or like lead the interview every
Oh,
week. So now you have to be out of the hot seat here.
sure, sure.
Okay, so Dom, you are a self-proclaimed enthusiasm enthusiast. What does this mean and what does it look like in your daily life?
I actually can't. I I can't take all the credit for this one. This was invented by 5 month subscriber James Dalton Bell, who about to catch some. That's gonna be happening all interview. Okay. I
Only
think it was when
fitting.
we were like graduating. We were like graduating college, and we were eating dinner with my mom and stepdad,
Mhm.
and James just had like all of these different facts. You know, he was naming things about space shuttles, and my stepdad was like, "Are you an aerospace engineer?" And he was like, "No, I'm just a space program enthusiast, or a UA, etc." And he was like, "No, I'm just a whatever enthusiast." And by like the third time he has just like said, "I'm an X enthusiast," I went, "Damn, James, you're just an enthusiasm enthusiast." But like I realized I am also an enthusiasm enthusiast, and I think that's what like led me, if not to folklore, it's what led me to studying festivals. It's what led me to studying like these very public displays of folklore, because like I'm addicted to seeing people be enthusiastic, and I just always want to be around people who are having the best weekend of the year. And that's what really like led me to festivals, I'd say. My enthusiasm my enthusiasm for enthusiasm. Um but to I think the second half of that question, like what is like every like how does that like manifest in like every day? How am I manifesting my enthusiasm addiction?
Exactly.
I am like I just like there was that book like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I didn't read it, but I bet it's something like my mantra for like enthusiasm, where I'm just like life is way too short to not only be like not exclusively be doing the shit you love doing. And
Yeah.
I tell this to people all the time. I would be playing video games on Tuesday, and I would be like chatting with my friends, whether they were watching or not. I just like get to do this. I just get to do this on Tuesdays now. It's just like I'm just doing the shit I'm enthusiastic about. That's like that's just how I try to orient my life around like make sure you are doing the stuff that really makes you happy constantly.
I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, the thing that's great about being a folklorist is that you get to do the stuff that you really love,
Yeah.
and like find the stuff that you just like really important. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people like shit on hobbies or the way that you spend time with your friends, or and like don't take that very seriously as like something that's really important to being a person. And folklore lens, at least for me, and it sounds like you as well, just make that like the core, like that is everything
Yeah.
in some ways, right? Like that's everything is the things that you're doing every day with your community that you get really excited about together. Like that's the thing that makes life meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to think folklore, the arts in general, it gives people meaning. And I like to be around people when they're giving their lives meaning. And and I think that's inspiring to me that I'm like I don't want to be doing anything except giving my life meaning on a daily basis. And that's my enthusiasm.
Okay, and so then like a follow-up to that, you kind of alluded to it a little bit before, and maybe it's sort of like a meta question for this entire stream, but one of your passions is video games and playing games with friends and Smash in particular.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a little bit on the stream before, but what makes you think folklore and video games, like what are the things that bring those two areas of your life together for you personally?
I think in a word it's expression. It's that um you know you hear like or at least I heard all the time like the damn video is going to rot your brain. It's like people told you it's like mindless, and I think that's so far from the truth, because the amount of ways you can express yourself in a video game are just just mind bending. And what I love about Smash in particular, for all fighting games, but I think Smash in a in a very unique way is that the whole way you win is to is about self expression. Is to developing your own style, and then and trying to stay two steps ahead of the opponent while still trying to be to play the character like you play it. I think Smash is doubly cool because there's this whole vernacular Smash community that has evolved contrary in many ways to how Nintendo thinks you should play Smash, but it's a way that has evolved around self-expression and competition and community and all these other great folklore buzzwords. And I think that's what drew me. I think that's always drawn me to Smash since fifth grade or whatever. But I think that's especially what drew me academically to competitive Smash.
Amazing. That's a great answer. And so this is kind of a fun question, so maybe a little bit shorter depending on how you want to answer it. But we know you're a folklorist, and we've known from past streams that you have a passion for mythology and classics.
Yeah.
If there was another discipline or field or area you could get a degree in, what would it be and why? And
um.
it can't be any of those that I just mentioned.
No, I think it would be um fashion, apparel merchandising. I think
Merchandising.
yeah,
You
I
you
think I
are
want
a
to get a degree
very
in fashion.
fashionable individual.
Thank you.
You
I
are a
mean,
very fashionable
because again,
individual.
self-expression. It's something you do every day
Yeah.
that the people who are real enthusiastic about it can sum up themselves in what they're wearing. So yeah, I think it's fashion. I think there was a year when I was applying for grad school and I was working at Men's Warehouse that a part of me was like, but you should stay at Men's Warehouse and work your way up to being the guy who dresses the mannequins. And for Mandolin in the chat who says she has that degree and you don't want it. I mean, I have a folklore degree.
Yeah, you got other degrees. I mean, there were
Yeah,
other things that came first.
I already have a degree that's hard to get a job in. Hence why I am uh
We're doing this whole thing
hence
that we
why we
call
had a
Folkwise
subathon
together.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence why I had to eat 6 hot dogs in a half hour as payment.
Yeah. Amazing. Um, all right. So I there's this secret lost recording that we may or may not at some point release on
One
Patreon.
day it's gonna come
Um,
out. It'll come out one
one
day.
day well, this might not be what you're referring to. I'm referring specifically to the 15 to 20 minutes straight history dump about the formation of Cincinnati
Oh, I forgot all about
that
that. You
that
have
we
that on your
recorded
computer? You
together.
have that on your computer?
I have it on my computer, and it didn't have a
Pog.
place in our Cincinnati chili video, and it needs to
Poggers.
be released. Yeah, it needs to be released, and it might be Patreon content, but what I remember from that is your passion for Cincinnati, and so I would love for you to explain why Cincinnati is such a fun, a memorable, a special place to you in your heart.
I mean, anyway, for people who go to college, leaving the house is so, living somewhere apart from where you grew up is so huge. Excuse me, catching burps. Um, but I also want to say it really has something to do with. I mean, the particular circumstances. My parents were getting divorced. My older brother already lived there, and Cincinnati was where you would go to be an adult and leave the bad shit from the other parts of Ohio behind me. You know what I mean? It was kind of
Yes.
it was reinforcing that this is the next phase of your life. And I uh yeah, I don't know. Cincinnati was there for me through difficult times in my life, and I always love going back to Cincinnati. And I also think Cincinnati's got such not just a unique identity as a city. Oh, and I already see Joel Chappening saying this. Every neighborhood is so unique. Each neighborhood has its own identity that it just makes there's never you never run out of stuff to see in Cincinnati. It's so great.
Yeah.
You can just always find something.
Do you have a favorite neighborhood?
Oh my god, do I have a favorite neighborhood?
Asks Joel Chappening.
Oh, I think it's got to be Over the Rhine. I think it's got to be Over the Rhine.
Yeah.
The
Such a complicated
history,
and
the
interesting history,
heritage,
yeah.
Yeah, the complicated history, the Germanness of it all, but also like when I moved to Cincinnati and Over the Rhine was like on the way up, and just like it's just like the hipster place that you needed to know. North Side is a strong number two though. I do love North Side. The food in North Side is so good. But I do love North Side too. I see North Side in the chat. Um I think over the Rhine just has such a cool history from the 1850s to now. There's always just something happening. For better or for worse. Sometimes bad things. Have been at least two like at least two like brutal riots. One was like the police mowing down Germans with a Gatling gun, you know? But even so, it's like it's still like the most vibrant, unique of the Cincinnati neighborhoods to me.
I was just there, so it was
Yeah,
pretty
you were
cool.
just in OTR?
I was just there. Yeah, and it was really fun. Oh my gosh, you call it OTR. I do stuff like that when I go home too,
Yeah, I call it OTR.
but only if you're from there.
I guess.
I mean, like, or the area.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that as a person who's not was not born and raised in Ohio, so I'm learning new things all the time. What are the top 3 restaurants that you miss that are in Ohio?
Oh my fucking god. Good question. Okay, top three restaurants I miss in Ohio. I
Things that when you're like you're sitting in your bed at night, you're like, "Oh man, I really wish I could just order this
I
place
think one has got to be Tony Paco's in Toledo.
in Toledo."
Yeah, Tony Paco's Hungarian sausages, Hungarian like kind of the Eastern European version of a coney dog.
Okay.
Excuse me. Made famous by Mash. Made famous by Mash, which is a fun fact. I think Tony Paco's is so good, and like just classic fucking like homes, like that's what home tastes like to me. I'm gonna say another restaurant I miss a lot is the Eagle, which I know there's now the Eagle has like spread out from Cincinnati. Uh but the Eagle fried chicken restaurant in Over the Rhine that just has like communal seating. Just everyone like shows up at the big like the big picnic tables inside and just sits down and eats fried chicken together. And the fried chicken itself is incredible. The sides, you get two full on sides before you can eat the chicken. And then
Nice.
to pick another restaurant, I'm gonna say God, what's it called? The last one I miss. Yeah, there's one in Mass Ave in Indy. Yes, the Eagle doesn't. Yeah, the Eagle is amazing, amazing chicken. Um, and then the other restaurant that I love is Swenson's in Northeast Ohio. Somebody back me up that I am indeed naming this restaurant right,
Swenson's.
because I hate burgers. I'm a fried chicken fish sandwich kind of guy, but my God, do they have the best burgers for like a fast food? It's like a Sonic kind of like pull in, like drive
Yeah.
in restaurant. God, their burgers are so good. Okay, so Swenson's in Columbus. I think the first one's in Akron. I think the first one's in Akron, and a bunch of my friends live or they're from like Cleveland Heights, and there's a Swenson's out there. Yeah, it's so good. I think that is my other. And I realized I picked fried chicken, sausage, and burgers. I am so healthy.
I mean, hey, those all sound like great recommendations. This was the ones that you miss, it's not the ones you eat at every day,
That's
right?
true. That's
So,
true.
yeah, these are the ones that you really miss. Oh my gosh, amazing answers. I got some other questions for you. How about favorite items in Mathers or item in Mathers?
Favorite item in the former Mathers Museum,
Yeah,
whatever it is called now.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, Daisy, do you know what a fantasy coffin is?
I am gonna need you to explain that. A fantasy coffin?
Yes. It is a
Can I wait? Can I guess?
yeah. Guess, go for it.
Is it a coffin that you go into and they, like, pretend to put you 6 feet under and they, like, play weird sounds inside and they, like, make spooky weird, like, smells come out at you and, like, have you is it one of those and it shakes? It's
God,
like,
I wish you were
"No,
right.
this
That is
isn't it."
not true. That is not true.
Okay, okay.
God, I
What
wish you
what
were
is a
right.
fantasy coffin?
Fantasy coffins are a thing in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, Wasteland Shaman has it. Yeah, fantasy coffins are a thing
Yeah.
in Ghana, which why just put you in a plain box? Why just put you in a plain box when you can build your coffin into your favorite thing? Uh
Yeah. Okay, okay.
and there
Okay.
was a fantasy coffin in the shape of a like a propeller plane at the Mathers,
That's
which I
cool.
loved.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Other fantasy coffins I've seen like Coke bottles, like bottles of beer. You'd probably get like a thylacine. You'd probably get the thylahype
Yeah, I
emote as your
mean, yeah, I
fantasy
probably would.
coffin.
That would be awesome. I could, like, bend in the shape of its jaw.
I might.
It
What
would
would
be
I? Oh,
cool.
I might get a hot dog as my fantasy coffin.
Yeah. I mean, that would be cool too. Video game
Jada
controller,
December wants to
console.
be. Yeah, everyone, sound off on what your fantasy coffin would be.
Yeah.
Jada December
What
says
would you
Bayonetta.
That would be cool. Yeah, for those who don't know, what is your connection to the Mavish Museum?
Traditional Arts Indiana used to be located at the museum at IU. Used to be called the Mathers Museum. It was that when I worked there. But
Mhm.
yeah, I spent like a little over a year and change, um, at the working at Traditional Arts Indiana, which is like the state folklorist for the state of Indiana that was housed at the Anthropology Museum at IU, and spent a lot of time there. Um, oh man, spent a lot of time in like the basement organizing all the like the traveling exhibits. I think one of my happiest memories is I know this is gonna sound weird, but it's slicing my hand open on a it's slicing my hand open like using like a razor, like a cutter, like giving myself like a pretty good cut. I didn't need stitches or anything, but I was told we could I was told to like wrap it, elevate it, take the rest of the morning off. And there is an exhibit at there's like a permanent exhibit at the Mathers that's like a 1950s living room. And I can remember putting my laptop on top of that TV and turning on Zeta Gundam and just watching it with like my hand tourniqueted like over my head. And the curator comes down and he just like looks at me and he's like, "So you doing any better?" I'm like, "I'm getting there." And he goes, "Okay, just checking. This looks fun." And just walks back upstairs.
Oh my god. This looks fun. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, since you have a number of stories about this place, what's the most haunted item? Or that you believe to be haunted? It could be actually haunted or one that you
You
believe
know
to
who
be
would be good
haunted.
for this? No, this is Matt,
Who?
by the way. This is Matt, Joel, not Jason or John. John told
Yeah.
me to take the day off,
Yeah.
but Matt checked on me. Um,
Yeah.
okay. What who would be this question would be perfect for Emmy because they worked in collections.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good question. Well, Emmy, get over here.
Emmy,
I'll have
yeah,
to send him a DM
splendid
somebody
Emmy, by
DM
the way.
Emmy.
However, if I had to
Yeah.
pick one thing that was haunted, mm, we had a there was a collection of hand painted walking sticks. No, no, I'm rephrasing this. Okay? I think if anything is haunted, and this might be in a good way, can it be haunted in a good way?
Yeah, I mean, we're folklorists. Usually things are haunted in a good
Oh, I
way.
don't know if the Mathers owns this.
Well, maybe it was on lease. It could have been on lease.
We definitely
Yeah.
leased a painting of the bridge. Okay, there was an exhibit we did about um a World War II veteran from Indonesia who
Okay.
moved to the United States after the U.S. Army liberated his prison camp,
Mhm.
and he did a bunch of he was like a self-taught like sponge painter, and he did like memory paintings to process his PTSD. So we had all these
Wow.
paintings of like the bridge on the River Kwai, and like paintings of there was a painting I'm pretty sure has some sort of spirit in it and probably good, of like the Americans showing up at the camp while an angel appears over it. So I think
Wow.
that's
Oh
one
my
that
gosh.
probably has like a
It,
supernatural entity like residing in it.
yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is so cool. Folks, Mavis Museum. Very cool. That's awesome. I got some fun questions for you.
Oh, let's do it.
I'm trying to check our time a little bit too here.
You're doing
So
good. You're doing great.
we found your interview from Hoosier Times. Uh, and we want
My
to know
what?
who we found an interview from Hoosier Times.
Interesting.
And we want to know who Mary Quick Burnry is and why she made you uncomfortable and want to lock your doors at night.
All right, so I used to be one of the presenters on the IU Ghost Walk every year. Mary Quick Burney is one of the stops on the Ghost Walk that I always got to interpret, and I think she makes me want to lock my doors at night just because she's like so obviously mad. She was a wealthy like donor at IU.
Hmm.
Um, she was like a wealthy widow who gave a bunch of her money to IU late in life, and she was having a giant painting of hers commissioned, and she hated how it looked. Um, and she hated how it looked so much that she stopped posing for it and then died because she was like an old lady. That is to say, this painting doesn't have
No.
hands because they didn't get to the hands before she quit posing for it and then died.
Oh,
But they still hung it up. But they still hung it up in
they
the
probably paid a lot for it. Mm.
Indiana Memorial Union without her hands, and spooky shit is always happening in the room. Like doors are locking behind people in the room where her unfinished painting is, and they have like
Oh my
her
gosh.
and like her husband's urn. Her husband's urn is like with her husband and son's urn were like put to rest by her painting, and like the urns move sometimes. Yeah, we need to take this painting down.
It needs to
She's
go down.
venge.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is so spooky. Well, it's making me want to lock my doors at night too. That is so spooky. All right, I got another fun one for you. And this one we crowdsourced a couple special questions
Oh
for you.
no.
So yeah, so no, this will be
Hey,
really
did
fun.
I deactivate
So
my blog from college?
I can neither
Okay.
confirm
Okay.
nor deny.
Okay. About to be
Um,
about to be embarrassed, aren't I?
no, no, don't worry. This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
Um, I would like you to pitch us a 6-issue self-contained X-Men series with the writer, the artist, 5 mutants, and why they formed the team.
Oh God. Oh, off top? That's
Yeah.
so hard.
If
Okay.
I mean
Okay.
if you
Okay.
can, if you can, if you can.
Okay. We're talking about artist. I want okay. Writer, artist, and why they formed the team.
Writer, artist, 5
The
mutants,
five, of
and
course,
why they're
it's.
together.
I mean, 5 mutants. It's assumed. Okay, okay. I let's start with the mutants because I think once we have the mutants, I think once we have the mutants, then we should we can piece the rest together. I think Kitty Pryde's got to be
Yeah.
on there because she's my favorite superhero.
Okay.
I think Emma Frost has got to be with Kitty because they've got such a fun dynamic together. So you got Kate Pride, the White Queen, Wolverine because Wolverine's on every team.
Yeah.
Um, I think Nightcrawler because Nightcrawler also like a big brother to Kate,
Mhm.
and I love that. And I think make the leader be Storm. Make the leader be Storm because I always thought Storm was my favorite team leader. Okay.
Okay.
With this team, I want it written by. That's an interesting question. I mean, like, I I mean, like Jonathan Hickman's run has been so good. Okay, I definitely want it drawn by Terry Dodson and inked by Rachel Dodson. because I'm just biased because I love the way that husband and wife team draws Kitty.
Okay.
And it's like a part of me says like I want to write it. You know what I mean? But like, God,
I
no,
mean, you could write it.
no.
If you were gonna write it, why did they all come together then?
No, I think. Okay, if I can get like as vague as possible. Kitty's my POV character for this team, and I think we need like I think let a queer person write Kitty, bisexual icon Kitty Pride. Uh,
Hell
it would
yeah.
just that'd be great. That'd be great. Also,
It'd be very good.
yeah, we have like her two big brothers. We have like our uncle and her big brother and her like sister she fights with and her sister she loves. It'll be like a family thing. Why are they coming
Yeah.
together? Why are they coming together? I think it would probably be something very bland at first. Like they were on their way to this team was on their way to like an art gallery in London or something to like repatriate a like a famous artifact from mutant history, like something from like uh one of those things the X-Men love doing where it's just like, oh, that thing, that legend you knew from history that was a mutant and people didn't have the words for it. So they're off to like go get like a I don't know, like a something like that, and then they get the play there's like a hostage situation with like human supremacists because humans are always the scariest X-Men villain, more so than other mutants.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but as they go, they're like, we can't leave England without investigating this, and it's a
Mhm.
conspiracy that goes all the way to the top. The top of what? I don't know. I'm just figuring
It
this out.
just
But
goes. That's
that
amazing.
broad strokes.
Love that. That sounds like a story I would read and be very thoroughly entertained by. Fun. Okay. I got more questions for
Go
you.
for it.
The follow-up to that is, do you support Brady the Rat King or Dickbot in the coming war?
Are those my only two options?
Yeah, yeah, and also that I need context for this because I
What if
wasn't
my
given
option
any.
is Miranda Batman? Can my answer be Miranda Batman?
I'll say yes as long as you explain the first two because we were told to ask
What
this
if
with
I told
no
you I
with
can't? What if I told
requiring
you I can't, but I support Miranda Batman? Okay, so in season 2 of Worst City of All Time, a podcast I
okay.
mention all the time, one of my all-time favorite shows
Mhm.
in the history of serialized things.
Yes.
Season 2 they did Sex in the City 2, and one of the things they noticed was Miranda's son Brady wins the science fair in Sex in the City 2, and he beats out a girl who gets static electricity out of a potato to turn on a light bulb. He beats her with
Okay.
a rat race or a rat maze, a rat maze.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And they're talking about it. They're like, "How is a rat maze more impressive than static electricity from a potato?" And he goes, "Think about it. I think he can speak to Ritz. That's what makes it so impressive." So as the lore builds and builds, it is Miranda from Sex and the City's son Brady. It is his fate to become king of all the rats in New York City, and
Okay.
fight Samantha's hookup in Abu Dhabi, Dick, that disappears halfway through the movie because they decided
Uh-huh.
he is a sex robot sent to destabilize the power grid of the East Coast, and the only thing that can stop him is Dickbot. For people who are lost, this is what happens when you watch Sex and the City 2 52 times in a year. You start noticing things in the movie that are only there for you. Like the 40th time, you're like,
Only
no, I
for
figured
you.
out what this movie's about. I figured out this movie's about. The rats and the robots are gonna have a war, and this is the prequel to that. Um, they recently did a live stream um like during the pandemic on Worst City of All Time, which was their pitch for the Sex and the City reboot. And basically, Miranda becomes Batman. Like she gets Michael Caine's Alfred to teach her how to be like put her in the Batmobile, teach her how to be Batman, and her arch nemesis is Rat King. So yeah, this is what happens to your brain when you watch Sex and the City 2 every week for a year. You start pitching other movies that are that only exist in your mind, and the background characters in the Sex and the City 2 are like doing once they leave the frame. So good question.
God.
I assume from James, who has uh who really
Guessed.
knows me. And yes, he said in the chat, he said I could pick Miranda Batman.
Yes, he said it was allowed.
Did any of that make sense?
Amazing.
Did any of that make sense,
Uh,
chat?
it barely. That barely made sense, but I think
What
I'm with you
basically,
there.
I think my favorite bit from season 2 is there's a scene when the four girls are in a coffee shop, and due to inconsistent editing, a man sitting behind Samantha appears to finish a cup of coffee 3 times in 1 minute. So they would do a recurring segment where they would pitch where he was going that he had to drink 3 cups of coffee in a minute.
That's awesome. That's like me waking up at 7:30 to, or actually I should say me waking up at 6 a.m. to go teach at 7:30 a.m. class on my during my master's degree.
Is is
Chugging coffee, so much coffee.
is Miranda behind you as you do that?
I mean, I didn't notice, but honestly, I lived alone, so I
Okay.
it could have been a ghost. I mean, maybe. um, I got more for you. I got more fun ones for you. All right. Could you tell us more about your experience with the most interesting man on earth, the Men's Warehouse founder?
Oh my god.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to fully divulge this.
George Zimmer, the you're gonna like the way you look, I guarantee it. From the old Men's Warehouse commercials. Um, used to when I was working at Men's Warehouse, he he did this. Um, I don't know if he still does, but he used to get a bus like a converted coach and travel these United States, going to every one of the regional Christmas parties. Um, so that is how I met George Zimmer, uh, the guy from the Men's Warehouse commercials, the inspiration for Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top, allegedly, the cover model for
Allegedly.
Zigzag Rolling Papers, allegedly,
Allegedly.
um, the man who got removed as CEO because he put Deepak Chopra on the board of Men's Warehouse for no discernible reason other than they were homies. Um, this like old, this like old, well dressed stoned man. Um, he is the life of the party. No matter where he goes, everyone's just like George is here. Sometimes George shows up to the store and they're like, "Look alive, George is coming!" You know. And my date that weekend, Caitlin, my good friend CJ, who's getting married next month. I'm so happy for her. But Caitlin was my date because we're like best friends and we both like clean up well. And God, let me tell you, George loved her. I don't think he crossed the line with
Oh,
her, but it may have crossed the line with some other. He's
just
always
about.
surrounded by like 18 to 22-year-old women,
Oh my god.
just dancing all night and buying drinks, and then waking up
Wow.
and getting on a bus to do it at another regional holiday party. But he is he's as well dressed as you think he would be. And he never stops schmooving, and he never stops schmoozing, and he is a legend. And I liked the way I looked. I guarantee that.
Wow. All right, Dom, I have one more official question for you, and then we can move on to what is known on our show as the tier list.
Oh
Are you
God.
ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, can you demonstrate for us a folk illusion right now? Do you have one up your sleeve? This is in reference to a presentation you gave.
No, I don't think any of them would work over camera.
Okay. Explain why. Maybe you could explain a folk illusion to us, what that even means, and then explain why it wouldn't work on camera.
This is something my a term that my old professor Dr. K Brandon Barker uh um came up with, him and Clay Rice, who was his professor in grad school and who's kind of like my academic grandfather, Clay Rice. But this is a term they coined in an article for the Journal of American Folklore. I've since published about a couple times, and I was on a presentation with them at AFS in Buffalo.
Mhm.
I want to say. A folk
I
illusion.
think so.
You know what an optical illusion is. And
Yes.
there's the more rare like auditory illusion, but like there are like auditory illusions, you know? And a folk
Mhm.
illusion is that for like embodiment. Is like playing a trick on your sense of being in your own body. So we talked about this with Libby talking about like light as a feather, stiff as a board. Is
Oh,
yeah, is
yes.
a trick you play when
Mhm.
when everyone lifts the person and it's easier than you think. That's an illusion you play on your sense of being in your own body, you know?
Or like crack an egg on your head that
Exactly.
you'll fall down.
That's another good one. Um I think those are like the two
Like
the, the,
common ones.
those are like the two I think most common ones.
Okay.
Um okay, here's one I think I might be able to do over camera. You ready?
Okay.
What did I say?
Uh illusion.
No, okay. I think that's easier when you're like right in front of the person. I don't know if that shows up on camera. That's one of the ones where like you say olive juice or elephant shoe, and people go like, "Did you say I love you?" You know, where you like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
That's one kids, and this is like a thing kids do. Press your hands against the side of a door frame. Yeah, Constance illusion in the psychological literature, I believe that's called. But yeah, that's floating arms. That's another one that I love. Yeah, all of those like illusions you do mainly as a kid, where you like do an illusion on your own sense of being inside your body. Um, I my paper during that presentation though was about all of the memes that do that. So like
Oh,
you know what I mean? So
there are
like
a bunch.
there's a bunch and
The
for
ones
that
that are like,
presentation
like, look over here. Is it the ones that are like, look over here, look over here, look over here, made you look ones? No, not like that.
that's like that's more of an optical illusion. Here's an example. Um Jared Schmidt, Smidgewisk in chat, and I left a page blank in my presentation, and I like texted Jared like, can we do one of these like meme illusions at the conference, and I can put it in my paper, and we did Vadering, if you remember Vadering.
Oh, I do. I do
Yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
Vadering.
So
I remember this
I had
presentation.
Jared
Yeah.
choke me. I had Jared or Jared choke me, but Jared held his hand up
His
like he's
hand.
Darth Vader force choking me, and I jumped and stood like that, and we had somebody, oh man, I don't want to get this wrong, Caroline Miller or Kurt Bear, I think. Maybe it was Jesse Riddle. Take a
Yeah.
photo like at the apex of my jump, and it looked like he was using the force on me. And
Yeah.
people laughed once they realized like that was taken out like that was like obviously a photo from the conference, like that was taken by the staircase. Yeah. So there's a folk illusion for you.
Awesome. All right. Are you ready to do the thing that we do every week for all of our guests?
I hope so.
Yeah, I was gonna say for those who don't know, we do a thing on the show called a tier list. We do it for every guest, and we have all of our guests rank a particular subject based on the standard tier list from D to S, as is used in fighting games traditionally. And this is one that we created just for Dr. Dom that only he could answer. And it is wonderful, and we hope that you all enjoy it. And it is extremely meta. So I cannot wait for you to see this.
I
All right, so we have crafted for you here a tier list
Here it
of the
goes.
subjects of the Folkwise tier lists. So we're in an incredibly meta way asking you to put on a tier list which tier list you wish that you had the ability to answer on the stream, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you want
I
me to
can
answer
explain it
this as
again.
which tier list do I wish I was doing?
Yes. So which tier list do you wish that you were doing based on all of the tier lists that we've had? Or I shouldn't say all, I should say most of the tier lists that we've had on
Yeah.
the Folkwise stream.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which ones do you feel that you would have had the most fun answering? This is very
All
meta.
right, walk me through this. Walk me through
All right,
this.
walking you
Where are
through.
we starting?
So I think I've got the same order on my screen. So first we're starting with Dr. Gina Jorgensen, who did not a tier list, rather an XY
She
axis
did our only
of
XY
the.
axis, didn't she?
I think she did. Yeah, when I was going through this, it occurred to me that that was the case, and she did an XY axis of princess to witch and trickster to magical helper.
I think that's got to be A tier because it's our only XY axis, and with two more with like the additional matrix, there's just so much creativity you can get in there. I think that's
Yes,
got to be
very
smooth
true.
A. That's
All right.
smooth
All
A.
right, smooth A. All right. Next, we have Dr. TJ Smith's regional barbecue styles.
S, easy,
S tier, easy.
easy S
Okay.
tier, easy S tier.
Any further justification?
It was so goddamn spicy.
It was pretty. The chat really popped off of
The
that one.
chat popped off.
It was a spicy. And
He was
he
super
straight up
opinionated about
left.
barbecue. It was so good.
He straight up left one off the list as well. He just was like, doesn't even make it on the
Well,
list,
yeah,
if I
he
remember
didn't know it.
correctly.
He didn't
Yeah,
know well enough
yeah, yeah.
to comment.
And
Yeah.
still, all right. Up next is CJ with the OG inspiration for the tier list, the Marvel films.
I mean, I've done this. Does this count?
I mean, did you want to do it again live
I'm
for
gonna say
everybody?
high
Or?
A because we could do it with the
High A.
shows
Okay.
now. We could do it with the shows now.
Yeah.
However, it was way too long.
It's
It was way too
yeah.
long.
It was one. We did so many. I don't know if everybody can
There's a lot
see
of
the
those damn
differential.
Marvel movies.
The differential there. Up next we have Ruth Hazleton and Americana albums, musicians. Which is where does this go on the list?
Easy D. Easy D.
Easy D. All right. Don't want to answer it.
And
Not a
not
big,
for
whatever.
and nothing about against Ruth. It's just
No, of course.
as we were doing that, I just got mad at the Grammys. I got mad at the Grammys.
Very fair, very fair.
Like I wasn't already mad enough at the Grammys. Making that was just like, God, the Grammys don't know shit.
How about one of our very own team members, Dr. Anna Morell's list of virtual influencers?
I'm gonna say this is low A.
Okay.
Because
lower than Gina?
I think lower than Gina. Because
Okay.
as much fun that would be. No, maybe this is B. Because as much fun
Okay.
as this would be, no one but Anna can possibly do this tier list.
That's kind of true.
This
That's
was
kinda true.
Anna's the only person in the world who could have done the virtual human influencers, the virtual influencers tier list. It was so specific, but she nailed it. And
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah,
It's just
shouts
fantastic.
out to Hatsune Miku.
All right, what about
What was your? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What was your rubric for picking these?
Ones that I thought that you would know more about than others, or have
got it.
more of a, because like I mean like my hair, like you don't, that's another one that
would've
kind
been
of
S
felt
tier.
like
That
was
would have been
most.
S tier, Daisy. That would have been S tier.
Damn it. Okay.
I
well,
think I might
should've
have
put it in
done
there.
your hair tier list before you saw it. Check view
All right,
community
well-
rank, see if it's averaged.
Well, that one, and then Caitlin's we left off here because I wasn't sure if you knew anything at all about Bravo until we did
They're very
Caitlin's
true.
tier
Very,
list.
very true.
And
But
then
like, where's Curse of the Goat? That's the one I really like. That's the one. That's
Curse of the Goat. Wait, that's on here. That's on here.
where?
Don't worry. Or at least I was put.
No, I don't see it.
What? I put that on my list. Okay, maybe I want to.
Curse of the Goat is I think the most fun I had in it.
What?
This Curse of the
Maybe
Goat
I
is
missed-
up there.
maybe
Curse
we
of the
missed-
Goat is up there.
Okay, maybe we missed putting that one on here.
Regardless.
But regardless, so we know that that's top tier. Hayao Miyazaki films. K-Tram.
I think it's C.
Okay.
Just the
fair. It's a fair-
unenviable position of ranking Miyazaki films. You could tell that Kate was
Yes.
like, oh, how am I picking? Like Kate really had to like come up with like
Yes.
something objective for something so subjective.
Yes. Absolutely. What about Kim Stryker and Virginia Agriculture?
That's interesting.
We thought this was because it's foodways, but also
It's foodways I don't
It's,
know a lot
yeah,
about.
it's not really.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things where like, it was perfect for Kim because like Kim saw like the logo for the brand of Apple, and
Yes.
she was just like, I have strong feelings about that. So like, fuck. But I don't know. I think I have to put it high C or high D, low C. I'm gonna say high D.
Okay.
It's got to be that's got
Okay.
to be Kim or maybe Caitlyn.
All right. Uh, Emmy, Papa Eddie, and Sailor Moon characters.
Oh my
Come
god.
on.
Well, this is one of those things where like Emmy did it so perfectly, and I don't think anyone but them like would have like those perfectly artisanal sourced takes. But I
Do you agree with their takes? Oh,
mostly I
that's
think
not for
no,
this stream.
not all the way. I think not all the way if I remember.
Mhm.
Um, but
The subject, though.
the subject was so good. So at the same time, it's like I watch. I only subscribe to Hulu with a new email every time I want to watch Sailor Moon. You know, and I
Fair.
do like the month
Yes.
trial just to
Yes.
watch some Sailor Moon. Normally, when I'm having like a bad couple of weeks, I'm like, I just need fucking Usagi here. But Emmy got me back into Sailor Moon. Honestly, I mean, like Sailor Moon was always like on before Dragon Ball Z and Gundam. And I would always be like, "Oh, I'll have to watch Sailor Moon so I can see the beginning of Dragon Ball." But like, I really liked Sailor Moon, but just was like, didn't want to tell any of the other boys. Um,
Hmm.
and hanging out with Emmy in grad school was just like, oh, Sailor Moon, like objectively one of the best anime. Um, so this represents a lot to me, but it's not going to be one of. I think I'm describing high A, and I'm putting it
That's what I'm thinking too.
between the Marvel
Okay.
movies and the XY axis.
Okay. Sounds good. We got Kathleen Close, Starps, Fat Cat of Instagram tier
No,
list.
Fat Cat of Instagram tier list is probably the most fun I ever had doing a tier list, just because of Kathleen, like Kathleen's face.
Yeah, Kathleen
At the
loving
same
it so
time, I
much.
still feel bad that I didn't include Bungaku because I didn't think he was chubby enough.
It's
Everyone follow
fair.
Bungaku. Follow Bungaku on Insta. But
Yes.
Kathleen loved that one so much.
It was pretty cool.
I think this is
What if
about no, I feel the same as I do about Anna. I would love to do it, but it's so perfect for the guest. I think I'm gonna say down there.
on a B? Yeah, I think if we were gonna do like fat, maybe change the subject of fat animals, and it was fat raccoons. This was on the table. We did
Oh,
think about this.
if Fat Raccoons was in it, oh,
Well, yeah, fat animal tier
tell me
list.
you've got a Fat Raccoon playlist or a tier list.
Oh, so like it's some things in my back pocket. Okay, and then last we have on here, Dr. Geiger and internet aesthetics.
That was a really fun one. That was a fun one.
That was a pretty fun one.
And I
Yeah.
really loved how there was like a thematic uh like a thematic through line through his tier list that was easily identifiable.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
love that one. Not as much as barbecue. All right, it was
Not as
it
much
was a
as
fun
barbecue.
one. It was a fun one. Not as much as barbecue.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say Daisy. Like I really like this tier list, but I'm unironically your hair would be S plus. Your
What
hair
are
is S
that's so
plus.
funny. That's so funny. Well, I was thinking about putting it in, but I was like, but
No,
maybe I would love for you to rank my hair
I have.
so much. It would be pretty funny.
You want me to find it?
You probably got strong opinions.
You want me to find that tier
Well,
list?
let's save it for the end. Maybe we'll do it at the end because we are very close to our break time. And Dom, from subjects that we have had as Folkwise tier lists, from regional barbecue styles down to Americana albums, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty folkloric.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought this could be the a perfect meta commentary on our stream to round out our whole year, to round out something that Dom, you and I have both had such fun time curating and cultivating together. So thank you for making this tier list and helping make this show happen. Well, that about wraps up our formal questions in our interview. Dom, thank you so much for being a wonderful and hilarious guest and sitting with us every single week for the last, like, I don't know, however many weeks it's been since February.
Yeah.
interviewing guests and hanging out and doing tech and learning along with us and improving the stream and doing so much for our official 1 year anniversary of Folkwise.
Oh
So
my
thank you
god.
so much, Dom. This is awesome. This is
You know,
it's
thank
honestly
you,
a
chat.
dream.
Thank you, chat, for
Honestly, a
watching
dream.
every week. I have so much fun doing this.
Yes, everybody, ladders for Dom. Yes.
GG's,
Aw,
everyone.
so proud of us. Oh,
Yeah, let me see some
Joel.
letters.
Joel. Yeah, please, ladders, folks. Come on.
On many levels. Making quotes helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.